On this handout, we're going to be practicing using different types of font so you can apply different creative handwriting styles into your final project along with the application practice that we'll do next. And then we're also going to focus on creating value change. Creating value change with our text is very important so that you can really make your final project more three-dimensional. To come up with different styles of font, you can start out with maybe your own handwriting for uppercase and lowercase, maybe a cursive style font as well. And then I would try to Google search some creative fonts to look into and see which ones are going to fit your style that you like the most. Something to consider as you're practicing these different font styles is which ones you're going to be able to replicate pretty quickly. So you don't want to choose one that's going to take forever to write one single word with, as when you're working on your application or your final project, you're going to be using that font style and writing it repeatedly. So you want something that you're able to write fairly quickly, but has a unique style as well. So as I'm practicing these, again, I'm just using my regular handwriting, trying out some cursive styles, and then also think about maybe trying out some different materials. So trying out a pen, a Sharpie, a pencil, a colored pencil, seeing which of these different materials you like the best that again are going to add a unique and creative twist to your final project. The next box here, this rectangle, we're going to be practicing creating value change using overlap. So you're going to keep your font the same style and the same size. Just in the darker areas, you're going to be putting them overlapping and closer together. And then as you get towards the lighter section, you're going to be starting to spread these apart. And I actually made the dark side on the wrong side here, so everything is flip-flopped. As long as you're showing value change, that's what's important. So going from dark to light. I'm doing a second layer here, just going over where it's the darkest, writing that word again over and over to make it as dark as possible and creating a smooth fade into my medium tones and then really spreading those out more into the lightest sections. The next rectangle, we're going to be creating value change with our text using size change. So this time I'm not going to overlap the font. I'm going to be spacing those out, but the size of the font is what will be creating the value change. So as I go towards the lighter side, I'm going to start to make my font larger. That allows more of the white paper in the background to show through so that it becomes a lighter value. So I'm using a different style of font here. So the first one I used more of a cursive font and now I'm using all caps. So try out a different font for each of these to see which one you like the look of and how those apply. And then in this last section, we're going to be doing a combination of the top two value changes. So I'm first of all going to be overlapping my font. And then as I go towards the lighter side, I'm also going to be making my font start to slowly get bigger. So I'm starting with a very small sized font, overlapping, and then starting to slowly spread those further apart. So as you're going through each of these rectangles, start to think about which of these styles is your favorite that you might want to try out on the next step, which is application before your final project, to see which value change is going to work the best for you, whether it's the first one where you're overlapping or starting to space things out, or the combination of both. You could also use all three styles in different areas of your project, depending on how you like the look of them. Just remember to take your time and really go back over things in order to create that overlap and refine that value change. When you're working on these as well, like I said before, try out different materials. So trying out a thick pen versus a thin pen. What do you like the style of more? Do you like being able to add more detail? Do you want to try to incorporate maybe a gradient of color along with your value change? So in the darkest area, maybe use a dark purple colored pencil and fade that more into a blue and then a light blue in the lightest section. So be creative with this and really try to put an emphasis on that value change throughout.